Good morning, students. Today I am going to explain the last part of lesson number 16, economic liberalization and globalization. The points to be discussed today are sustainable development, the strategy to be adopted for conservation and preservation of natural resources, steps taken to protect the environment. In the last two videos, you have studied about new industrial policy, its aspects, which are when was the new industrial policy implemented? July 1991. Which are the aspects of a new industrial policy or new economic policy? LPG, that is a liberalization, privatization and a globalization. What is meant by liberalization? Government gradually reduces the restrictions and the controls imposed on private sector for economic development. This is called the economic liberalization. Then what is meant by privatization? The process in which ownership and management of a public sector is transferred or handed over to private sector. Then what is meant by globalization? Globalization is the process in which the economy of India is connected with other countries of the world. As a result, there is a free flow of goods, services, technology, and labor. Then you have studied about World Trade Organization to ensure that there should be free, transparent trade between countries of the world. An organization was established by the member nations of a United Nations on 1st January 1995. That is called a World Trade Organization. Where is its headquarter? Its headquarter is at Geneva in Switzerland. Today we are going to study about sustainable development. Then what is meant by sustainable development? Sustainable development means development should take place without damaging the environment, and the development in the present should not compromise with the needs of the future generation. That means we should achieve development. Present generation means we are the present generation. So we should achieve development. And we should achieve development in such a way that we should not harm or destroy the environment. For economic development or for development, we are making use of natural resources. So we should not exhaust the natural resources. We should keep a sizable amount of natural resources for the future generation. Then only they can achieve a development. That is a sustainable development. So what is meant by sustainable development? Development should take place without damaging or harming the environment, and development in the present should not compromise with the needs of a future generation. So sustainable development is the development which meets the needs of present generation, which satisfy the needs of a present generation. We are the present generation, without compromising with the ability of a future generation. So we should not compromise with the ability of a future generation. Future generation means a coming generation, our children. And we should keep that natural resources, a sizable amount of natural resources should be kept for the future generation to meet their needs. So what is meant by sustainable development? Development which meets the needs of a present generation without compromising, without adjusting with the ability of a future generation to meet their needs or demands. The idea of sustainable development developed because of extreme effect on nature, near human habitation and man-created covering, that is environment. So this idea of sustainable development emerged or started because of extreme effect of effect on nature, near human habitation, because of different types of activities made by man on nature. So how did the idea of sustainable development develop or emerge? Because of extreme effect on nature, near human habitation and man created cover, that is environment. So the concept of sustainable development emerged because of extreme effect on human activities on nature. Man is doing different types of activities in order to attain or achieve a development. So in that way he is destroying the environment. So the coming generation, future generation, they cannot enjoy that Development. The way and the speed with which a present generation is developing, it cannot be maintained in the future. So we are developing very fast. The way and the speed with which a present generation, we are the present generation, is developing, that cannot be maintained in the future. Why? Because the natural resources will get exhausted. Present generation is achieving development with the help of natural resources. They are doing the development very fast. And if this condition is going on, then the future generation, they cannot maintain the development. Why? Because the natural resources will get exhausted. There is a fear that the luxuries which a present generation is enjoying may not be there for future generation. So there is a strong fear that luxuries, comforts and facilities now we are enjoying, that may not be available for the future generation, because development is possible only with the help of natural resources. So with the help of natural resource, man is now enjoying all the comforts and luxuries, facilities. The present generation is enjoying the comforts and luxuries that may not be available for the future generation. There is a tremendous decrease in natural resources due to economic development, and their quality is also deteriorating. So the speed and the way in which economic development is taking place, both the quality and the quantity of natural resources are deteriorating. Their condition is going very worst. So there is a tremendous decrease in that natural resources because of economic development, and the quality and quantity of a natural resource also getting deteriorated. In this condition, there is a need to change the idea of a development. So under such a situation, it is extremely important to change the method of a development. Idea of sustainable development is studied because of present development and the effect on it on environment. So under such a situation, it is extremely important to change the method of development and adopt the practices that can save the natural resources. So explain the concept of a sustainable development. Write down in your textbook this question: what is sustainable development? Development should take place without damaging the environment, and development in the present should not compromise with the need of a future generation. So the idea of a sustainable development developed because of human activities on nature. Man is doing different activities on the environment, and he is polluting or means he is destroying the environment. So if this condition is going on, then a situation will come, then future generation can enjoy the luxuries and the comforts of life. So what we should do, that we should follow the we should change the path of development. The way and the speed with which a present generation is developing, it cannot be maintained in the future. So the way and the present generation is achieving development very fast, and that cannot be maintained in the future. Future generation, if we are going this way, future generation cannot attain development. Why? Because natural resources get exhausted. There is a fear that the luxuries which the present generation is enjoying may not be there for future generations. So the present generation enjoying all the comforts and the luxuries that may not be available in the future generation, because that natural resources will get exhausted. There is a tremendous decrease in natural resources due to economic development. So present generation is achieving development with the help of natural resources. As a result, there is a tremendous decrease in the natural resources, and their quantity and quality is also deteriorating. In this condition, there is a need to change the idea of development. So under such a situation, we have to change the idea of a development. Idea of sustainable development is studied because of present development and effect it on environment. So it is important to change the method of development and adopt that practices that can save the environment. Then what are the strategy? Which things we should keep in mind for the conservation and the preservation of a natural resource? We have seen that sustainable development is possible only with the help of a natural resources. So in order to preserve and conserve that natural resources, which steps we should follow? Which things need to be observed for the conservation and preservation of natural resources. Conservation means when that something is going to destroy, then we are protecting, that is a conservation. Preservation means protecting something in its original form is called that a preservation. So which things we should keep in mind for the conservation and preservation of a natural resources, or explain the strategy of a sustainable development. First one is that the renewable natural resources like cultivable farm, forest, water resources, etc. should be used in such a way that their quality is maintained. Renewable resources means that the resources which never get exhausted. We can use it again and again. Which are the renewable resources like a cultivable farm, that agriculture land, forest, natural resources, etc. we should use in such a way that their quality is maintained. And non-renewable natural resources. Non-renewable resources means the resources which once get exhausted can't be reproduced or regenerated. So non-renewable resources like coal, petrol, minerals, etc. should be used judiciously. Judiciously means we should not waste the resources. We should use economically. How much it is essential, that much only we should use. So what is the first one? Renewable resources should be used in such a way that their quality is maintained, especially which renewable resources, cultivable farm, forest, and natural water resources. Then non-renewable resources like petrol, coal, minerals, etc. should be used judiciously. How much it is essential, that much only we should use. We should not waste the resources. Second one is that industrial location should be decided on the basis of a lesser transportation cost. That means that industries should be set up or established at such locations which can reduce transportation cost. And hence we can save petroleum and other resources. So industry should be set up at such locations which can reduce transportation cost, and hence we can save petroleum and other resources. Then a sincere effort should be made to achieve eco-friendly development. So we should make a sincere attempt. Sincere effort should be made to develop that eco-friendly development. That means we should be friendly with the environment. We should not act like enemies. We should have a friendly relation with the environment. That is eco-friendly development. So what are the things we should keep in mind for preservation and conservation of natural resources? First one is that the renewable resources like cultivable farm, water, forest, etc. should be used in such a way that their quality is maintained. And non-renewable resources like coal, petroleum, minerals, etc. should be used judiciously, economically. Second one is that industry should be set up at such a location which can reduce transportation cost, and hence we can save petroleum and other resources. Then sincere attempt should be made to achieve eco-friendly development. Third one, those resources which can be used in more than one way should be utilized in different ways, such as different irrigation systems are utilized for more than one purpose. Example, producing electricity, flood control, transportation, etc. So we should make attempt to use multiple use of resources. So attempt should be made to make a multiple use of resources. Multiple use of resources means certain resources we can use for more than one purpose. For example, dams have been constructed across the rivers. That is why it is known as a multi-purpose project, for more than one purpose. For producing hydroelectricity, to control flood in the rivers, transportation, inland navigation, etc. So third one is that attempt should be made to make a multiple use of resources. For example, irrigation project is used for more than one purpose. That is for producing electricity, flood control, etc. So first one is that the renewable resources should be used in such a way that their quality is maintained. Then non-renewable resources should be used judiciously. Then second one is that industry should be set up at such locations which can reduce transportation cost, and hence can save petroleum and other products. Then sincere effort should be made to achieve eco-friendly environment. Then third one, that attempt should be made to make a multiple use of resources. For example, irrigation project is used for more than one purpose, that is for producing electricity, flood control, inland navigation, etc. Then fourth one is that natural resources should not be wasted. We should not waste that natural resources. How much it is essential, that much only we should use. Then control should be laid on unplanned disposal of industrial waste, poisonous chemicals, increasing slums, etc. So natural resources should not be wasted. Systematic methods should be developed to see that industrial waste and poisonous chemicals are released by the industries are disposed properly. We know that industries, they are releasing poisonous chemicals, waste, etc. And we should see that they are disposed properly. So what is that fourth point? Natural resources should not be wasted. Then systematic methods should be developed to see that industrial waste and poisonous chemicals are disposed properly. Similarly, slums that should be controlled, and attempts should be made to develop a proper waste disposal in the slums. So we should control that slums, and we should see that proper waste disposal, proper waste disposal should be there in the slums. Then stress should be laid on use of a non-conventional energy resources such as solar and wind energy. So use of a solar and wind energy that should be encouraged. That non-conventional source of energy, they never get exhausted. We can use it again and again. So we should give more importance to the use of a non-conventional energy resources. That means a renewable source of energy like a solar energy and wind energy. They never get exhausted. So which point should be followed in order to preserve and conserve the natural resources. First one is that the renewable resources should be used in such a way that their quality is maintained, and non-renewable resources should be used judiciously. Then second one, industrial location should be decided on the basis of a lesser transportation cost. That means industry should be set up at a such location which can reduce some transportation cost and hence can save petroleum and other resources. Then we should make a sincere effort to achieve a eco-friendly and development. That we should develop in such a way that it should not harm the environment. We should have a friendly relations with that environment. Third one is that those resources which can be used in more than one way should be utilized in different ways. That some of the resources we can use for more than one purpose. For example, irrigation system, that is dams have been constructed across the rivers for more than one purpose. First one is to produce electricity, hydroelectricity, to control flood in the rivers, transportation, then tourist places, etc. So that is the third one. That those resources which can be used for more than one way can be utilized in different ways. We should make use of resources which can be used for multiple purposes, like irrigation system. Then fourth one, natural resources should not be wasted. We should not waste that natural resources. How much it is essential, that much only should be used. So natural resources should not be wasted. So development is possible only with the help of a natural resource. If we are wasting the natural resources, the future generation cannot achieve a development. So we should not waste the natural resources. And that attempt should be made to make that a systematic disposal of industrial waste and poisonous chemicals. Systematic methods should be developed to see that industrial waste and the poisonous chemicals are released by the industries are disposed properly. Then slums should be controlled, and attempts should be made to develop a proper waste disposal in the slums. Then we should make use of a non-conventional source of energy like a solar energy and wind energy. They never get exhausted, so we should try to make use of a non-conventional source of energy. Then next one is that what are the steps taken to protect the environment. So Sweden was the first country to suggest for organizing a conference to discuss a human interaction with the environment. So which was the first country to suggest for organizing a conference or meeting to discuss human interactions with the environment? Now we know human interaction has increased. Man is doing different types of activities on the environment, and he is harming or damaging the environment. So discuss that problem. Sweden was the first country which took the initiative. As a result, the first Earth Conference was organized in 1972 at Stockholm in Sweden. So where was the first Earth Conference organized? In 1972 at Stockholm in Sweden. Thereafter, from time to time, conventions and camps have been organized for protection of environment at the global level, in which it was decided to take a different steps for environmental protection. So after that, since then, global level conventions and camps have been organized regularly for protecting the environment. So where was the first Earth Conference organized in 1972, where at Stockholm in Sweden. So since then, conventions and camps have been, global level conventions and camps have been organized regularly for protecting the environment. And in that conference, they have decided to take different steps for protecting the environment. And India is also involved in these global efforts. India also participated in these meetings. Government is also making efforts at a national level. So the government of India is also making efforts in that national level. So where was the first Earth Conference organized? At Stockholm in Sweden in 1972. Thereafter, from time to time, conventions and camps have been organized for protecting the environment at a global level, international level. And in that, countries of the world, they have decided to take different steps for the protection of environment. And India also participated in these meetings. Government of India is also making efforts to protect the environment at a national level. So what are the steps taken in India for the protection of environment? First one is that India gathers, collects information about pollution condition of different cities and prepares reports. So information about the pollution condition of different cities of nation is presented. So India collects information about the pollution condition of different cities and prepares reports. Second one is that central and state pollution control boards have been established to control pollution. So in India, central pollution control board, and each and every state has a state pollution control board. They have been established to control pollution, and those who are violating, means creating those industries or those people who are creating pollution, they are given the punishment by this state pollution control board. So what are the steps taken in India for the protection of environment? That Indian government collects information about the pollution condition of different cities and prepares the report. Second one is that a central and state pollution control board have been established to control the pollution. Third one is that 5th June has been declared as a Environment Day in the world. So 5th June is declared as a World Environment Day to protect the environment, to make the people aware about the importance of protecting the environment all over the world. 5th June has been declared as a Environment Day. So which day is celebrated, declared as a World Environment Day? 5th June, in order to create awareness among the people to protect the environment. In India, government passed Air Pollution Control Act in 1981. So the Indian government has passed Air Pollution Control Act when it was passed in 1981. Then international agreements have been signed for deteriorating level of ozone. Now that ozone layer is in the worst form, that we are feeling extreme cold. Global warming is there because of the deteriorating level of ozone. So international agreements have been signed for deteriorating level of ozone, disposal of nuclear waste, and maintenance of biodiversity. so international countries of the world, they have signed an agreement regarding that deteriorating level of ozone, disposal of throwing of waste, nuclear waste, and the maintenance of biodiversity. So what are the steps taken to protect the environment? Which country was the first to suggest suggest for organizing a conference to discuss the human interaction with the environment? Sweden. Sweden was the first country to suggest for organizing a conference to discuss human interaction with the environment. As a result, where was the first Earth conference organized? At Stockholm in Sweden in 1972. Which are the steps taken to protect the environment? First one is that India gathers information about pollution condition of different cities and prepares the report. Second one is that central and state pollution control board have been established to control the pollution. Then 5th June has been declared as a World Environment Day. Then in India, government passed Air Pollution Control Act in 1981. Then international agreements have been signed for deteriorating level of ozone, disposal of nuclear waste, and maintenance of biodiversity. So today you have studied about sustainable development. What is sustainable development? Development should take place without damaging the environment, and development in the present should not compromise with the need of a future generation. Then the concept of sustainable development emerged because of extreme effect of human activities on nature. The way and the speed with which present generation is developing cannot be maintained in the future because the natural resources will get exhausted. There is a strong fear that luxuries which present generation is enjoying may not be there for future generation. That natural resources have reduced to an alarming level. The speed and the way with which economic development is taking place, both the quality and quantity of natural resources are deteriorating. Under such a situation, it is extremely important to change the method of development and adopt practices that can save the natural resources. So, which are the strategy to preserve and conserve the natural resources? And that first one is that renewable resources should be used in such a way that their quality is maintained, and non-renewable resources should be used judiciously. Then second one, industrial location should be decided on the basis of a lesser transportation cost. Sincere effort should be made to achieve a eco-friendly development. Then third one, the resources which can be used for more than one purpose should be used in different ways. For example, irrigation system. Then fourth one, natural resources should not be wasted. Then fifth one, that we should give importance to the use of non-conventional energy resources like solar and wind energy. Then which are the steps taken to protect the environment? So Sweden was the first country to discuss about the human interactions with the environment. As a result, the first Earth Conference was organized in 1972 at Stockholm in Sweden. Since then, global level conventions and camps have been organized regularly for protecting the environment. During such meetings, the countries discuss environmental problems and means to solve them at a world level. India also participated in these meetings. So, what are the steps taken by the government of India? First one, information about the pollution condition of different cities of nations is presented. Central and state pollution control board have been established to control pollution. Third one, 5th June has been declared as an Environment Day in the world. Fourth one, in India, government passed a Pollution Control Act in 1981. Then fifth one, international agreements have been signed for deteriorating level of ozone, disposal of nuclear waste, and maintenance of biodiversity. I have written the questions in each topic, and you write down the question in your textbook and learn the answers from the textbook. Now I am giving some of the questions as assignment. All the answers are there in my slides. Questions also, answer also. So see and then write down in your that economics notebook. First one, what is the meaning of liberalization? Mention its effects. Second one, mention the benefits and limitations of a privatization. Third one, what steps have been taken to conserve environment. Fourth one, explain the strategy of sustainable development. Fifth one, explain the benefit of globalization. Sixth one, mention the objectives of World Trade Organization. Seventh one, mention the ways or methods of a privatization. Eighth one, explain the concept of a globalization. Ninth one, when did economic reform start in India? When did World Trade Organization establish? Then 11th one, explain the concept of a sustainable development.